You are listening to the sounds of the Right On Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Record Jams, brought to you by the Right On Network. This is episode 28. I'm AJ.
I'm Arthur.
And Arthur, I'm very excited to talk to you about this one. We started the podcast with Stevie Wonder back in episode 1.
Yes, we did.
Revisiting him.
Right, and we promised that we would because it's Stevie.
Yeah.
And we got to do that. So let's take it to 1973. This is the 16th. This is from the 16th Stevie Wonder album. Wow. Just in case you don't think these people were making a lot of music. And this is from Innervisions, the gargantuan, huge Innervisions. And the song I picked is For the City. So there's so many different places to go coming out of this, but let's jump into where this is in Stevie's career. So again, album number 16. This is in the mix of his core run that people bring up all the time. In 1972, he did Music of My Mind and then Talking Book all in 1 year, which of course is insane.
You gave me those albums in the early 2000s.
I'm glad I did, because I went on the tour of Stevie's discography after that time, at that same time, because I started with Stevie in the greatest hits because he had the 4-disc box set. I started with that. I knew it wasn't enough. And so then I started listening to those albums. So yeah, I probably just roped you into it because I wanted somebody to be along for the ride with me because it was just going so well so often. So yeah, that makes sense that I would have had you in on it.
Yeah, it's a fun ride because it was a lot of stuff where it was like, okay, now I'm listening to some of these records in the context of an album. I was like, oh, that's where this comes from. Okay, that's where that comes from. And I had enough schema to go like, all right, now I can put this in the proper place of, so this is what stuff was like before. And then this is what happened when he released Talking Book and Innervisions. And then these are some of the effects afterwards.
Right. And so this was like Stevie establishing himself as an adult artist. This wasn't little Stevie Wonder anymore. Like, this wasn't just an album of half covers. It wasn't just the people linking him up with everybody else that they wanted to align him with, whether it be a little bit of James Brown or Ray Charles, of course. It was like Stevie stepping out and becoming more of his own thing. And so, and also, picking various topics. I mean, you think about Innervisions, there's songs about drug use, there's songs about higher ground, there's songs about religion, there's songs about politicians. There's a little bit of love song, I like your girl stuff going on, but that's not really the point of this album. Like, he wanted to get heavy, and he got heavy with it, man. And even when he does, Stevie can't help himself because he's got jokes all the time. But yeah, For the City is one of those ones for me, man. It's a really important record. I think a lot of hip hop owes itself to this song, not so much from the music or quote unquote the beat being sampled all the time, but just the concept of the song, making this type of story be something that you could put in a song with a straight face and people would listen to it. I think from that point, it's a really, really important song.
I think this is one of the most important records of all time because just simply the message of it. I'm living just enough for the city. So, like, I never buy into the narrative that, hey, people are lazy. They don't want to work. Because most people, they're working 2 jobs just to barely get by. People working full-blown shifts. So it's just like, hey, even with sports players where it's like, hey, they're making all this money. But when it comes to like there's some type of holdout and it's the players versus the owner, I'm going to side with the players. Where it's like, well, why do you even care about them? Well, if an owner has enough money to pay somebody all of this money, then again, the owner's not hurting. So I'm going to be on the side of the worker. And I love how this song is broken down of Stevie Wonder. He's giving you these vignettes like, hey, take this person right here. This is how they're living just enough to get by. Take this person. And like that just being a message, like you got the mega church where they're talking about like, hey, if you're in traffic and someone cuts you off, like think twice before you yell at them, kind of. So it's like you got that stuff. And then you got the church that's on the side of the road. And it's like, we're giving you this message just enough for you to get by through the next week to come back. Because we know you're barely making it and scraping by. We understand the struggle that you're in. And like this music has struggle to it. And I just enjoy that, and it makes me believe it. And again, I don't always have to listen to music that's struggling. I understand that now. But I'm just saying, like, I just think that this is one of the most important records ever, because to me, I think also too, I can't pinpoint it. This song scares me because I think the first time I was exposed to it, it was like the backdrop of like people on drugs and strung out or something. So it kind of depresses me when I hear it, but it's also jamming.
Right. It's kind of bluesy in that way. It's got a bluesy swing to it. The way it makes it back to the hook, living just enough for the city. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to tell you these stories. Like you say, these vignettes. I'm going to take you through this family and how things are going. And yeah, I'm going to kind of let you dip your toe in it first. And then before you know it, you're in the ocean and you're out there and you're surrounded by water. And I'm telling you, this is how it can go. These are people that mean well. These people didn't do anything wrong just yet. They're just out here, and this is how they're out here. And here's their different stories, and they're all in the same house trying to accomplish things. So it's just, it's a real heavy thing, especially listening to it with adult ears now, right?
Yeah, and we talked about this as far as like some of the sounds that are on here. And you mentioned how, like, hey, Stevie Wonder started off as a child artist. And now it's like, okay, you're going to go into adulthood. What is that going to be like? And he's writing this stuff where heavy things are happening. This is post Dr. Martin Luther King being assassinated, post like a President Kennedy being assassinated, the brother being assassinated. So, RFK. And now we're in the 70s. You got, what's going on, all this stuff. And it's like the 60s kind of pushed the door open. And like the 70s are wide open. And you're getting Sesame Street, where it's a show for kids, but like it's like they're on the stoop. It looks dusty. It looks real. So it's kind of like, well, like now enough time has gone by and we can appreciate surf music. But at the time in the late 60s, that started seeming kind of corny. And like even I think like Jimi Hendrix made a comment about it at Woodstock where it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this. So with Living for the City, man, it sounds like after like listening to this, like I wonder like everyone's first feel of hearing this for the first time. I'm like, whoa, like, man, he said some stuff on there. Like, I don't know if I can go back after this. I don't know. Like, I feel like when I hear this music, I'm seeing The Wire. I'm seeing New Jack City. I'm seeing people, lighting that fire at that barrel and it's cold outside and they're hovering around it.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. And then that's what I'm seeing when I'm just listening to the music. And then he's also painting these pictures. And we did this before where Susie Thunder Tussie, where it's like, hey, it's this guy from the Midwest and they go out to LA, the big city. And then this situation starts off where, hey, this person's from Mississippi and he goes up north to New York City. So, and it's an American story as apple pie.
Right. Very much so, man. And so there's, like you say, there's a lot of music going on here. There's harps. Of course, there's Stevie hitting his vocals. He's doing the multiple Stevies. He's doing the background. They got the the singer's on the hook with the da 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 da, and it's like, man, it's just hard, man. Like, it's all very musical, but he's not letting you off the hook, man. Like, he is telling this story, and you don't get away from it, man. Like, it's just there, man. Like, it's hard. Even the single version, which is, like 3.5-4 minutes long, the full album version is 7 minutes. So he really gave it time with a skit in the middle,
yes,
to really explain how things went completely sideways on there, right? So you're talking synths, you're talking Fender Rhodes, he got the Moog on there, you got the hand claps, you got, it's just a whole jam going on here, man. So you want to jump into these lyrics, or any other thoughts before I go through some of these lyrics?
Go through the lyrics, and then I have some thoughts about that as well.
So, I mean, he doesn't give you long, right? So the music starts, and you're talking 10 minutes. He's yelling already, right? A boy is born in hard time, Mississippi, surrounded by 4 walls that ain't so pretty. His parents give him love and affection to keep him strong, moving in the right direction, living just enough for the city. And you're thinking, okay, yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, it's his kid. He's in Mississippi. Okay, things aren't great, but he's got a family. All right, what's the problem? Well, let's dig into this. His father works some days for 14 hours. You can bet he barely makes $1. His mother goes to scrub the floors for Minnie, and you best believe she hardly gets a penny. Living just enough for the city. And that's when he gives you the first chorus, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, Stevie, this is not good. Like, things have gone bad already. Like,
you have something to say.
You got something to say. Wait, you got this kid, and this is his parents, and this is what his parents are going through. Well, okay. You gave me a chorus after that? I don't know why. I'm not ready for a chorus right now. What else you got? Well, he takes it to the sister. His sister's black, but she is sure enough pretty. Her skirt is short, but Lord, her legs are sturdy. To walk to school, she's got to get up early. Her clothes are old, but never are they dirty. Living just enough for the city. Before we go to that fourth verse, like, think about what we've done already, right? He's described this kid's surroundings. The parents are working themselves to the bone. Here's the sister that he's got, and it's clear that there's not a lot of money, but, like, there's pride, right? Like, there's that pride and that perseverance. Like, yeah, my clothes are old, but they're not dirty. And yeah, like, his sister is good looking or whatever. And it's like, okay, he's spelling this whole thing out. And then now he's back to the kid in the fourth verse. Her brother's smart. He's got more sense than many. His patience long, but soon he won't have any. To find a job is like a haystack needle, 'cause where he lives, they don't use colored people. Living just enough for the city. So he's got to move now, right? Like, and then he goes into this chorus, like, everything is just like, wait a minute, this is not good, Stevie. I don't want any more choruses. Tell me what happened to these people. Like, this is bad.
And you got to remember too is, hey, I thought we got past this with the I Have a Dream speech and, the 70s. This is a new world. Why are you bringing this up, Stevie? And he's like, you may have thought that this was over, but no, this is the realism that I'm bumping into.
Right. Like, this is a whole family, and this is everything that they're dealing with, and they're just enough because the idea at that period of time, and I know it really well because, like, that's the period of time that, my father was growing up in a small town. And when he graduated from high school, yeah, the plan was to get to a bigger city and make something of yourself. That's what a lot of his older brothers had done in the years before. And he was just kind of following suit. And, that's how he ended up in Houston. And that's how he ended up being born in Houston because of that whole concept, right? And it's just like the living just enough for the city story is like the story of a lot of kids in my age group for sure. And beyond that, right? It didn't just stop happening. I mean, it's even my cousins, and they lived in smaller towns as well, a lot of them. And yeah, when they had an opportunity, they did kind of the same thing. They wanted to go to a bigger city to establish themselves. Their kids wanted to do the same thing. And so it's like, this is still going on, man. Like trying to get to a certain point and hope that you can live just enough for the city, right? And you just don't, just because you make it to the city doesn't mean that you've made it. You're just in the city now.
Yeah.
So it's just wild, man. And so this, I mean, try to describe this skit after Stevie goes into a full chorus and he goes into like a let me break it down for y'all type thing. And he's singing like the song is over. But on the album version, the song is not over. And they go through this whole skit like the kid goes to New York City. And he gets out, gets off of this bus and somebody hands him like some money and what we now know later in the story, spoiler alert, is some kind of drugs or something to take across the street. He's just some kid from Mississippi, doesn't have any idea, ends up going to jail. And then he's like in jail for 10 years and then he just gets out. And then that's when we get what I call grimy Stevie. Where Stevie gets that voice, you know what I'm talking about?
This is brilliant where, okay, he starts off and it's, innocence, boom, innocence lost. He gets hardened and then boom, we come back and we get that growly Stevie because I've been hardened now. Like, you robbed me of what I thought the dream could be. Wow.
Yes, like I didn't get to do this and now here I am. I've been considered like some kind of ruffian. Like, you explain this kid's life. He was just in a small town where the family was trying to do the best they could. Things weren't great for him racially and otherwise in this smaller town. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to go to a big city. I'm going to go to New York. And then things went sideways immediately. And now this kid's just out there. And then grimy voice Stevie, which is my favorite Stevie. His hair is long, his feet are hard and gritty. He spends his life walking the streets of New York City. He's almost dead from breathing in air pollution. He tried to vote, but to him there's no solution. Living just enough for the city.
Wow. Because they excommunicated me out from the voting rolls, so I can't get represented or voice my opinions about stuff. Yeah, you got to think what he's describing from Cooley High to Do the Right Thing. We've been steady remaking this movie since the song came out.
Absolutely. It's like we've been trying to long form it, make the message matter to as many people as possible. Because like you say, you're hearing the song and it's a jam and the story is obviously sad, but just because, there's choruses and there's bridges and there's breakdowns, you could almost miss it if you're not listening to these lyrics. So because he pulls what I always call pulling a Jay-Z, like he's explaining now the song at the end. I hope you hear inside my voice of sorrow and that motivates you to make a better tomorrow. This place is cruel. Nowhere could be much colder. If we don't change, the world will soon be over. Living just enough, stop living just enough for the city. I don't rate songs, but let's rate this one on a scale of 1 to 10. 10.0. I got decimal point too for the people that love the decimal points. 10.0. This is it. This is execution of a concept. This is telling the story. This is changing your voice to make the story hit in a certain way. There's music. The music is changing. The chords are changing. There's jamming happening. You can't say it's not listenable because it's hella listenable. And again, this is like the template for so many rappers that we hear. They're zooming in on each verse of this song and trying to tell that story in more detail of like, hey, this is what happened to me when I was trying to be just enough for the city. Like, this was my version of For the City. Like, I'm trying. Like, I'm still trying. It's 20 years later, hip-hop a big deal in the 90s. And how many For the City sounding songs do we have? whereas people just almost like begging you to see it. Like, I'm struggling. I'm trying to do this. I had people that cared about me when I grew up, and it's still hard. Just because people care about you doesn't mean everything's easy. Just because you go to a bigger city doesn't mean everything is easy. Like, there's still issues, and there's things that you gotta have pride in your bloodline and your family and what people did to try to make it easier for you than it was for them. Like, all of that is in this song. And again, the performance of it, like Stevie's vocals all throughout this, whether it's grimy voice Stevie or regular Stevie, he nailed this, man. He nailed it.
What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, is that before this?
That's before this. So that's early 70s. So this is when, after There's a Riot Going On, so after Sly, after Curtis, and, like after those guys kind of put their Rebel Yell music out, and it made it a little bit easier for Stevie to come in with this because there had already been successful songs that covered these types of things in a larger scale. And not to mention Shaft soundtrack with Isaac Hayes. And so there was things out there. So people were doing this. People were starting to do what I guess now is called social commentary music. Like they were starting to be able to do it. Like they were able to do it. And so it was almost like being able to shed some of that skin that they grew after some of the horrible things that happened in the 60s. And it wasn't enough just to say, hey, that stuff was bad. It was more like you had to unpack more of like, this is what's happening with regular people. This is what's happening when people go to war and come back. This is what's happening when people grow up in these big cities in the parts of town that aren't the parts that the movies are made in, or that the parts that the movies are made about. Like this is the underbelly. This is the underworld. This is the bad parts of town. And like them unpacking that for us and pointing it out for us in the music to say, don't think it's all good just because I'm in New York. Don't think it's all good just because I'm in one of the biggest cities in this country. Like things are going not great here too. So before you come here to some big city thinking it's just going to be on just because you're in a big city, like you need to know that it's not all that. Always. Not just because you're here. So it's like I think about all that stuff. It didn't stop people from doing it, right? So you think about our beloved New York hip hop and our beloved New York rappers and what a lot of them went through. It's the aftermath of this. It's these guys, somebody in their bloodline said, we got to get to New York because we'll have a chance to do better. And in varying degrees and ways, a lot of those people failed. And then it gave birth to all that pain. It gave birth to all those scary and bad decisions that some of those people felt like they had to make. The bad stuff that they did that we can all kind of listen to it on a song and be nestled up nice in our little beds, knowing that for the most part, we're not involved with most of, if any of that at all, depending on how we came up and how protected we were and how much more successful maybe our families were. But it's like, man, to hear it, to see it, like I look at all that stuff as connected, man, because this is Stevie Wonder in 73 talking about Just Enough for the City. And then 94, we got Illmatic to let you know there's people still doing this. You know, you got Reasonable Doubt in 96. With a guy that's allegedly a success at it, but he's got all this scar tissue from all these bad things that he did. And he's like he's not glamorizing it. He's just kind of explaining it. Like to me, those albums, those artists, yes, Nas and Jay-Z is low hanging fruit, but it's like you can see it, or I can see it rather.
So you spoke of Nas with Illmatic. That was a situation where it's like, all right, let me do Just Enough for the City from different angles on different records on this album. And Mobb Deep came out with that Juvenile Prison, Juvenile Hell, where they came out with that first, then they heard Illmatic, and they're like, oh, well, we got to rethink what we're doing because like this is actually about something. So with, Stevie Wonder, that's why I asked about, like, with the Marvin Gaye, did the What's Going On come out first? Whereas, like, man, I might want to change my trajectory after this. Like, yeah, I still want to, like you were saying, I want to make some Baby I Love You songs and all that, but man, it's too much real stuff to go on, and I have this platform. I think I better go with this. And like you said, hey, it's still jamming. It's still, all this stuff. Now, and you talked about how this was a big influence on hip hop. Like with this skit in the very middle of it, I mean, it reminds me of some skits with the courtroom scenes in NWA.
Exactly.
Now, on the Wu-Tang Forever album, on the second disc, when Inspector Deck, when he goes dolo, he has the song The City, where in the chorus he's singing the song Living Just Enough for the City, and the music sounds like sorrow. The music sounds like melancholy. And then this is basically Inspector Deck going, all right, I'm going to do one of these Stevie Wonder verses, but I'm going to do it my way. He goes, in the jungle, I make moves like Iron Monkey. Plots to bump me off, government on the hunt for me. We stay hungry for money, drugs, and guns. Ones who fake get caught in the crossfire for crumbs. Know the signs, but be my guidance. The facts tell, gats sell like sex and violence. And break the project silence, a vision. This is a way beyond four corners, escape this mental prison. Before we're all goners, now embrace the world. Before the World War, explosive bomber, visionary, soldier karma. My code of honor, mine still scarred from the drama. Trauma sent to victim, witness them run, scream in horror. Military chopper come gun down the slum. The outcome, do or die, son. It's bound to come. Mentally aware, I see truth within the square. The future's here, catch me on computer software. Warfare inevitable, rebel I hold several government official. Issue 38 specials that step through like Nat Turner create a spectacle. I may die in the scuffle, but I'm taking 40 devils. We're living just enough for the city.
Yeah. People got
from
inspired,
73
man.
to 1997.
Yeah,
Arthur,
man.
from the Industrial Revolution to now, you drop this record off anywhere, it's relevant.
Absolutely, man. So you think about filling in some of those blanks beforehand, right? So the Curtis Mayfield solo album was September of 1970. What's Going On was May of 71. Riot Going On is November of 71. So yeah, Stevie had that stuff out there to hear and say, okay, I can come in with this too. I can lay my stuff out there and get my point of view across on this too, and tell my story. And I'm not even gonna announce it. I'm not gonna make the whole album be about that. But I'm gonna get my piece of it, and I'm gonna speak my piece on it and say, here you go. In a visions, like this is me talking about everything that's going through my head at the time. And so it's like, yeah, higher ground, too high, Mr. Know-It-All, you haven't done nothing after that. The year after, it's like, yeah, he's hitting it, man. So laying out this story of how a whole family can get impacted. And now you're talking about across generations, people being impacted. We talk about generational curses a lot now, but it's like they're spelling it out for you how it can happen, even with everybody meaning really well. So yeah, man. And again, that tie into hip hop, man, there's no way. There's no way it's not there, man. Like it not just topically, but just like the feeling of it and the spirit of it and the, hey, this is still happening, so we got to tell these stories in a different way. Now, obviously, with hip-hop in the 90s, things are a lot more vulgar. There's more cuss words. But, the funny thing about Stevie, not something else he does when he's grimy Stevie, he sneaks in cuss words. Do you hear it? Do you hear it on For the City? He cusses on there.
Wait a minute. What? Okay, I think I did hear that.
So it's like during the ad lib. So when he's doing the living just enough, for the city out. And it's just like he's just funky and he's in there with it. And then he's just going off. And in the middle of that, he gets it in there.
Mm-hmm. Because
he gets it in
it's like,
there.
I'm tired of it. I got to break through. I can't sanitize this anymore. We got to stop pretending like we don't see this. I got to say it.
Yes. And it's like, wait a minute, Stevie. The frustration. Almost like when the Isley brothers did the same thing with Fight the Power, right? Like they tried to sneak in they cuss words too, man. So, but by the time we got to the 90s, you didn't have to sneak anything. You just say it,
Yeah. No, yeah, this that skit was wild. And that kind of stuff, especially when I was a kid, that it would just depress me. It would scare the heck out of me. Because it was like, hey, he had all this hope, and then boom, it just led down. And like in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, it was a lot of that stuff because they were trying to teach you a lesson. So in the end, the person would just go on a downward spiral. And speaking of this, like there's a lot of things going on right now where folks would go, you couldn't do that now. They wouldn't show this now. One thing that they showed us, because when we were in elementary, they had the chicken club. And then when we got to 5th grade, they had the DARE program. And I believe DARE, that's nationwide around the United States. And like every once in a while, like a cop would come and talk to us. One time they showed us this movie, and like it was like a teenager or something, or a young man. They were robbing people and all this stuff. And then I think things got a little too out of hand during a robbery, and he killed somebody. And in the end, the guy got the death penalty, and they had him at the electric chair. And, they're like, you got any last words? He's like, I'm just sorry. I regret what I did, but, I understand why I'm being punished. Dude, we were in 5th grade. They showed us this. So, like, I just remember, like, I feel like a lot of, like, media and stuff back then, it was, like, depressing. So I'm just going to say it. So like with Get Out, I was so on edge because I'm like, is this dude going to die at the end? And he didn't. And that's what I like fully knew. And even with the movie Fresh, where, he didn't die at the end. That's when I was like, okay, I think we're out of that mode where to teach you this lesson, it better be a depressing ending. Like Ricky, he's not going to college. He's going to get mowed down. Right. And now we're kind of out of that. And it's like, dude, look, man, like there's major things going on in the world, but my accountants, they're telling me like, dude, look, everybody listens to you. Just don't do anything where it's going to be divisive and polarizing and you're going to lose half your audience. Let's just I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm just saying like something like this, where this was played on the radio, right?
Oh, yeah. It was a single.
You guys got to write into us on ontherecordjams@gmail.com. I don't think we're going to get this anymore. Like, not like the mainstream, we all heard this and like, whew, that was pretty wild. Like, the closer we're going to get to it's going to be either Beyonce or Taylor Swift. They're the only people that can do it. Everyone else, they don't have the bandwidth or the freedom to kind of do it. They're going to get talked out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, you think about Kendrick and All Right, man, and what that turned into. I mean, he said a lot of it, and a lot of his work kind of goes into that, especially the work up before To Pimp a Butterfly was more about the community at large that he came from, whereas then it started being more about his impact and his thoughts and how things were going for him. But yeah, man, it's really it's a very wild thing to do, to give up some amount of your single or your radio jams to delivering a message like this. It was crazy to do it back then, even though, we laid out some of the examples of people doing it. You think about it, the Isley Brothers a couple years later, they had Fight the Power. That was 1975. So
wow.
Eventually they did it too. But like, it was something that people almost had to talk themselves into back then. And so to think about it now, multiple years later, when reactions take up so much space in our universe, right? I mean, you think about it, our show is a reaction show. It's just we pick different things to react to musically, but like the reaction space is so crowded that when you actually have an original thought, like it's really crazy to be the one issuing the initial thought. Cause almost to the point where your music now has to be a reaction to things that are going on. And in a lot of ways, I mean, even back then for the city, like, yeah, this is not Stevie's upbringing. This is not autobiographical, but it happened to somebody. It happened enough somebodies that he could make a song out of it. And nobody's thinking, oh, yeah, he just made that up.
That's science fiction. No one thought it was science fiction. No, this is, yeah. We all know somebody like that if it's not happening to you.
Right. Absolutely, man. But yeah, it couldn't jam anymore. It couldn't be more of an important song. It's just wild, man.
I don't know how I was exposed to this song. I am pretty sure it was in media. Like, I'm pretty sure like there was some type of montage and this music was playing in the background. And I'm pretty sure it was something really serious and deep. I just wish, I don't know when I first was like aware of this song, but definitely this feels like it's ubiquitous. Like, I don't remember not knowing it. And there's so much to Stevie Wonder where he's teaching you how to do music. And like I sent you that article about Bubba Thomas. He was a jazz musician in Houston, and he would go to schools and teach kids about like jazz and music and all this stuff. And he would use a lot of Stevie Wonder songs to do it. So that's how I knew about da 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 da. Like, he would use that to like, okay, and then you do this and you do that. So it's like Stevie Wonder is so, and the thing is, Stevie Wonder is with us right now. It is November 4th, 2025. He's still with us, right?
Oh yeah, he's still with us. He was
just so wow.
It just really is wow, and you think it's crazy because he's been doing so many tributes over all these different years. Like, he was at D'Angelo's funeral and sang, more than one song. And he was doing tributes to Michael when Michael passed. Like, Stevie is just still just this amazing luminary figure in music, and he's still around for us to appreciate and enjoy. I was telling you before we started recording this whole thing of BET doing a tribute to him like 20 something years ago. And, things going off the rails when Elton John decided to sing his own song. He decided to sing his own song, and the song went on and on forever. And Jamie Foxx was the host and proceeded to clown him about it as soon as he stopped singing. But yeah, man, it's another one of these cool things of how many different types of artists we have. And just to have the fact that we've been able to have a full career of Stevie Wonder. Oddly enough, right when Intervisions came out, he got into a major car accident. I remember reading about this a long time ago. And he was supposed to be doing like a tour, right? To, you put the album out, then you go tour, you sing the songs. And it was like 3 days after. So yeah, like it could have all been over right after this. It's crazy to think. And this would have been just it. This would have been the last Stevie Wonder album, would have been Intervisions, which is just unreal. And you're talking about like major car accident, in a coma. Like, we came that close to losing Stevie Wonder, 50 plus years ago. And not only did he survive, he made some of the jammingest, greatest music you've ever heard in your life after that. And he's to the point where he's just a fixture when people want to do tributes and when people want to have our legends come out. And I would say, in the last 10 years, even since I've been married, he did a show here where he sang Songs in the Key of Life in its entirety. So that's the 2-disc mega album. So that was a long show. He was pausing to tell jokes and clown and, give people a chance to change wardrobe or whatever. But man, he sung that whole album, interludes and everything. And so, that means I got to hear As live. So, and I mean the whole thing. I'm talking about the grimy Stevie voice with the breakdown at the end. So, you talking about the whole crowd doing some unk dancing. Like it was great. And I mean, we're talking about in the last 10 years since he's been well up in age. So I just can't imagine going to see him during his, younger years and prime years. But it's not like he wasn't on point for that show I went to with a couple of my buddies. And we took all our wives and everything. It was great, man. So it was just, Stevie Wonder is I almost want to break into it like Elton John. I want to start yelling out Stevie.
Yeah.
But it can't be overstated how amazing his career has been and how many great songs he gave us. And we've jumped around a little bit in his career and how maybe he wasn't the first one to do something, but he always had a piece of it. He always got in and put something out there that helped stamp those moments and those periods of time. So he's all that, man. That's putting it mildly.
So some of these bars where he goes, his father works some days for 14 hours and you bet he barely makes $1. That's a strong statement to make because you might be rewiring some people's thinking because it's like some folks may be thinking, well, those folks are poor, they deserve it, or they're lazy, they're not doing anything. So just the fact that he's saying, hey, this person's working 14 hours and barely making it, I don't think we're realizing how that may have been news to a bunch of people. His mother goes to scrub yeah.
No, you hit it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's both parents working. They're not making a lot of money. Him and his sister at the house trying to make the best of it, trying to do justice to all that work, feeling that pressure, being in Mississippi and trying to talk yourself into the story of, man, maybe some of these things aren't going great because we're in Mississippi. So let me go to a bigger city.
His mother goes to scrub the floors for Minnie. You best believe she hardly gets a penny. So it's like, again, that could have been like eye-opening to a lot of people. Now, this line here where he goes, his sister's black, but she is sure enough pretty. I don't know if that's about like some self-image issues with society at large, where it's like, hey, who's defining what beauty is? We get The Color Purple, where Whoopi Goldberg's character goes, I may be black, I may be ugly, but I'm here. So that's an interesting line to go, his sister's black, but she is sure enough pretty. Like those are two things that can't be in the same idea.
Right, because that's more of a discussion about skin color, right? Like it just implies that she's dark skinned.
And we get the whole thing with Spike Lee with School Days, the good or black hair and all that stuff, the good or dark hair, the good or bad hair. Her skirt is short, but Lord, her legs are sturdy. So I don't know if that's about like, hey, don't judge this book by its cover. This girl can pack a punch. This girl is about her business. Don't think because of short skirt, this other thing. Now it says to walk to school, she got to get up early. So I don't know if that is, hey, because we're in a remote area. So she wants to learn, but she got to wake up way earlier than everyone else. Like, again, it's so much story in each line.
Right.
And is this a longer song with the skit? Yeah. Let's say you take the skit out. But man, there's, like I said, you can do movies based on these lines. There's so much in them. And like you were saying, the whole thing of these clothes are old, but they do all this stuff to keep them clean because of the pride thing. Oh, it's good writing. It's just great writing.
Right, and he just kills it. And again, he always swings back around to living just enough for the city. Like, this is where they're at. Like, this is what these people are doing to try to get by in this environment that's being painted like once you're here, you're good to go. And it's like, no, you're not good to go just because you're here. You got to do stuff. And even with that, there's still no guarantee because, look, the brother's smart. He's got more sense than many. His patience is long, but soon he won't have any. To find a job is like a haystack needle because where he lives, they don't use colored people. So he just brings it all the way back around. Everybody's doing all this stuff to try to set these kids up. And the sister's got to walk to school. And the dude is smart, but the place where he's at won't even hire him for racial issues. This is the city.
And he foreshadows what's to come before the skit even happens. His patience long, but soon he won't have any.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, he laid it all out for you. And then he got grimy at the end when you still didn't understand it. He did a jam and breakdown, and then dude went to jail and got out. And then grimy Stevie had to explain to you what happened after that.
I don't know. Yeah, this is scary to me. Like, this is, woo. Eesh. Eesh. Yeah, man. Stevie Wonder, 1973.
73, man. What else can we say? Like Jay-Z says, what more can we say?
And it's wild. It's like this place is cruel. Nowhere could be much colder. Oof.
Yeah. If we don't change, the world will soon be over.
And this is 1973, where it's like, okay, well, we're in the future. What's the answer?
Yeah, we still didn't exactly figure it out, you know. Technology did real good. There's been a lot of advances. I mean, cars are nicer. The average car is nicer than the car from 50 years ago. That's for sure. We're not flying, though. Not yet.
You don't want to. I think in the end, do you really want that?
No, we don't.
No.
We need to be on the ground.
Yeah. I would love to teleport, but I would love a self-driving car so I can read and stuff on the way there. But
hey, we do have that. That's pretty much happening. Yeah. There's people using those, and they trust them.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's good enough. I don't need to fly around.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have to go through a TSA line right now anyway. Won't.
There we go. Yeah, so yeah, Stevie Wonder, just Arthur on the spot. Someone's like, hey, man, 5 songs. Just that they can listen to. Just some primer set. Stevie Wonder, 5 songs.
Ooh. You are just the sunshine of my life. Yeah, you are the sunshine of my life. For the city. Ass. You have to listen to Ass, right? Sign, Seal, Delivered, I'm Yours.
Oh.
And Send One You Love. I'm missing 80 Stevie on that, but just trust me on that.
What are your thoughts about Ebony and Ivory?
Yeah, I mean, it's 80 Stevie. So, I mean, 80 Stevie, and I don't want to say that with too many italics in my voice because he's got jams. I just call to say I love you. Love, Light, and Flight. Part-Time Lover. That Girl. Like, I mean, he made the Martin Luther King birthday song. That's in the 80s. That's 80 Stevie, too. So don't let people lie to you and act like Stevie stopped making jam and stuff because he really did. But yeah, Ebony Ivory.
Because he did the soundtrack for, did he do the soundtrack for, Jungle Fever?
Jungle Fever. And before that, he did Woman in Red.
Yeah, he started giving us jams.
Yeah. He never really stopped jamming.
Well, he was all throughout our lives. The reason why I brought up that Ebony and Ivory thing is because I remember on Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo. Eddie Murphy was Stevie Wonder and Joe Piscopo was Frank Sinatra. And they did this again. They sang Ebony and Ivory on the piano. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Because I had never heard the song. And then when I heard the song, it had all those 80s aesthetics to it. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that skit's amazing, though.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So, like, I feel like Paul McCartney listened to a lot of Stevie Wonder. and like would try to get there. But Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney, they have a lot of similarities to me.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and so the fact that they finally linked up, like in the 80s, and did that song, I'm not surprised. Because I think there were certain things that Stevie Wonder was doing that Paul McCartney was chasing.
I could buy into that. Yeah, I mean, 5 Stevie songs, and I didn't mention any of the 80s songs. And I mean, he's got like 15 absurdly good songs from the 80s. So again, don't let lazy algorithm internet people that don't have. I've been saying this on the internet a lot. Like you don't. They never had a full case logic. You can't be trusting what these people talking about, man. These people just go up and their mission is to not like stuff, and it's like, no, don't try to tell. I heard the albums. Don't tell me Stevie didn't have jamming stuff in the 80s. You're out of your mind. Like,
yeah, we had to narrow it down to 5.
Yeah, we had to narrow it down to 5 because I mean, there's come on, there's Do I Do, Ribbon in the Sky, like all that's 80s Stevie. That's supposed to be when he stopped making jamming stuff. Because the albums weren't like the best album you ever heard in your life level, like some of the stuff he made in the 70s. But I mean, yeah, it never really stopped until he stopped making music, really. So Stevie is a titan, a master, a maestro. I'm out of superlatives. Like Stevie is just all that, man.
Well, yes, I want to say again that this Living Just Enough for the City, this is one of the most important records ever.
Yeah, I buy it. I'm into it. I really love this record for a lot of reasons. It means a lot to me from a topic standpoint. And yeah, when you get beyond all the subtext, which I'm a sucker for subtext and commentary, but it's just a jam on his face too.
Yeah,
I mean,
like and I love the choice. Like the RZA does this too. I love the choice of these women sound like people at the local church. So again, it kind of gives that realism to it instead of like this trained singer from Juilliard. That's so like I just love that as a fact. I know the RZA does that a lot, where these women, they sound like these songbirds, where it's like, man, I'd rather hear this all day than whatever they're putting on Star Search or America Got Talent.
Yeah, where you got people just belting it out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate, again, like Talking Book, Intervisions, the stuff that you were giving me in the early 2000s, where I was like, oh, okay, I'm putting this all together now, because when we were growing up, Stevie Wonder was just kind of everywhere. So you would bump into his music. You weren't going to escape it. But listen to it in context, listen to it within like those singles in the midst of an album. That was, yeah. I can't remember the Stevie Wonder album I was listening to that I sent you guys, but I was like, oh, yeah, man. Because it was an album I never heard. I can't remember what it was, but.
Yeah, I'm interested to, you got to follow back up with me and let me know. Like, imagine, again, man, you think about having music tour guides, us being tour guides for one another. How lucky I was to have people that would take the time, whether it be the cool uncles I had that would play their jams for me, some people that my dad worked with, and, having a chance to reach out to them and have conversations with them. This guy, man, Big John Chandler, man, and he was like age-wise, he was between the age of me and my dad, so he wasn't as old as my dad, but he was kind of like a early 80s funk guy, like that jam band, that Jerry Curl music, so it just kind of helped me fill in all those blanks. And he was like a member of record clubs. He had like so many different albums during a time where it was, before streaming. So him just like literally recording an album on a CD and giving it to me where I could just listen to all this stuff. Also had like a DJ and a beat maker here locally, man. Like my brother Sadiq, and he worked at Sound Waves over on Cross Timbers with one of my best friends in the world, and he was like my tour guide for which album to buy next when I started going on tour, right? So I did Al Green, I did Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and I would roll up on him and be like, Sadiq, which one is the next one, man? What about this? And it's like, chronologically, this is the one. Like, do I do this one or do I do that one? And he had already been through that whole process because, man, again, he was a producer and a DJ. So, I mean, you're talking about a great tour guide to tell you, because it ain't no way he hadn't heard all these records. And so, like, him telling me, like, hey, man, you know, when you would get to certain albums, he'd kind of like try to talk me off the ledge of like, get your expectations in order. And then I would come back like the week after I listened to the album. I'm like, this is supposed to be the bad album? Are you out of your mind? Like, this is good. He's like, oh yeah, man, I didn't tell you it wasn't jamming. I just want you to understand, like, this isn't his best work, but yeah, there's songs on here. You're going to like it. And it's like, okay, cool. Thank you. I feel better now. But yeah, like Stevie's first 80s album is Hotter Than July. And buddy, that thing's got jams on it, man. For sure.
Stevie Wonder, Music of My Mind.
Woo. Was that it?
Yeah, Love Having You Around.
Oh yeah.
Superwoman. I Love Every Living Thing About You. Sweet Little Girl. Happier Than the Morning On. Girl Blue.
Yeah, you were jamming for sure, man. Cause you got that's Keep On Running too, right?
Keep on running.
Keep on running. Yeah, and man, Superwoman is so special, man.
Seems
so that's
long.
One of them 2-part, man. That's one of them long 2-part songs.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? Like Superwoman, what was that? Like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. Like he. That was
Superwoman
an opus.
8 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's one of those ones, man. Like, I almost should have made that one of the 5, but you know, this is why I don't do ranks and comparisons, man. Listen to all of it. You got time.
Oh, and something else we need to bring up too is Stevie Wonder produced this. Can you talk about like how like he's drumming the instruments, especially for this record, Live for the City? You know, any of the production notes?
Well, so a lot of it would be Stevie himself, right? So it would be a lot of tracking going on, right? So this is during the time where the technology was getting to the point where you could have 16 tracks or something like that. Maybe not exactly that many, but you could have more tracks, so you could literally go do the vocals and the basic piano and then come back and lay the drums over it, and it could all be you, right? Like, you could just keep on running it back with each of the pieces in there. And so a lot of that, especially during this time, a lot of that was Stevie doing this. And then he would occasionally get musicians to come in and fill in with him if it was a part that he couldn't play right the way he wanted to play it. But a lot of the creation piece would be on him. And then he would kind of play the rest of it in. And maybe people would come in, guitar players, a lot of, you know, those special names that we all know now would be like his session musicians. Like, and then you think about background vocalist. I mean, he worked with Shaka Khan, Minnie Riperton. Like, you're talking about some of the best, most killer voices. His ex-wife, Sarita. Like, he had some of the best doggone voices you're going to have on any record, singing background for him on records. And obviously another challenge during the 70s is record keeping was not great. So in some cases, the documentation is not there. So you almost have to know or hear that voice and know who that voice is, because sometimes there's people just not listed on the records. But then you hear the documentaries, you hear people saying, oh, yeah, that was me. I was singing on that song. And then you go back and listen to it and you're like, oh, yeah, that is you. It sounds just like you because it's you. That makes sense. Like that, there was a lot of ensembles eventually with Stevie when he started to really, you know, expand into this area of his career, especially when you get to Songs to Kill Life, because that's 76, right? So 73, we're back at Intervisions. Maybe he was a little bit more isolated, but as you can imagine, like, he had to have some amount of involvement or help, right, to come in and help play some stuff with him.
Arthur, tell the lovely people how they can get a hold of us and share their love of Stevie Wonder with us.
On the Record Jams at Gmail, OTRJ on Blue Sky, On the Record Jams on X, On the Record is on Facebook. Our videos, our podcasts are up on YouTube, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast from. So any of those places that allow comments, once we post these episodes and get them up, yeah, we'd love to hear about your entry into Stevie. What's your first Stevie song? Did you see Elton John's tribute to Stevie that went on a little bit too long? When was the last time you saw it? Because you need to watch it again because it's funny. Do you know that Stevie Wonder is a very good drummer, right? Like before it got to the 80s, some people will say they don't like Stevie's 80s stuff because that was during the time where he started using programmed drums more. And a lot of the 70s stuff was him.
That's what turned me off from the Ebony and Ivory. Like some of those 80s aesthetics I'm just not into, so that threw me off for a loop. But I know that Questlove, he'll go like he'll try to mimic some stuff that Stevie Wonder was doing drumming wise. He's like, I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, because you don't, like Stevie didn't like a perfect drum. And so sometimes it's like you want it done, you got to do it yourself. Like, so that was a part of it too. So it's just like he just caught the rhythm the way he wanted to catch the rhythm of the drums. And then you see a lot of great artists at the same time. They have their kind of own weird thoughts too. I mean, to go back to Angelo one more time, it's like, yeah, that was something that D'Angelo and Quest had to work on together because D'Angelo liked his drums a certain way. And that's where Dilla kind of came in too, something where the timing was a little bit off and you're doing it on purpose. And it's like, yeah, you'd have to really be in the room with those guys to see how they're doing it and how they make it work. And then they get used to playing like that. And it's just real high level musicianship going on for there. But yeah, man, I think with Stevie, it was a lot of him, and then occasionally having people come in and add their touches, especially of course vocally, right? Like you had people, like you talk about those musicians that sound almost like session musicians. And so those different voices and things, because he couldn't do all that stuff himself. So, yeah, I mean, around this time, he had some people coming in, maybe playing a little bit of guitar, mixing in there with it too. But it was a large amount of Stevie on these songs.
So, guys, thank you for listening. Please come back, and until next time, keep your lamplight trimmed and burning.
And keep jamming.
We got him.